Welcome to T-Boys TV. We're here for the final game week of Championship predictions. Big up to everyone that's come through this year. Even when I've done Championship table predictions at the start of the season, I know a few people came over from there. So big up yourselves, it's been good. I'm sure I'll probably do playoff predictions. Obviously my team Luton are in there anyway, so I'll definitely be doing it for the Luton ones. Probably the other game, I'll probably do predictions for them as well. Obviously, it's the final game week for a lot of these teams in the Championship. Obviously, all the teams in the bottom three have obviously now been confirmed. They're all going down, the ones that are currently there. Obviously, it's been confirmed certain teams won't be getting playoffs and certain teams still have a fight to get it. And then obviously, top and second is obviously Burnley and Sheffield United, obviously up and going to the Premier League next season. Obviously, the first game we're going to look at is Birmingham City versus Sheffield United. Now, Sheffield United obviously confirmed second a couple of weeks ago, as we know, obviously beating West Brom. I did do a watch along to that. I thought it was a close game in the first half. I thought the second half West Brom were pretty poor, to be honest. They're taking on Birmingham in this one. Now, Birmingham obviously staying up. You know, a lot of people thought they'd go down at the start of the season. I thought they'd be in and around it, but I didn't think they'd quite go down. Obviously, they're staying up. Had some decent results lately, though. You know, beating Millwall away, you know, which is not easy. I know that as a Luton fan. Obviously, we drew 0-0 there. And then they've had some shaky results, you know, other than that, like losing at home to Blackpool, and obviously got relegated now. That sort of thing. Sheffield United, I think they just want to end it on a, you know, a high and have that momentum going into the Premier League next season. As much as they already are promoted, I think they'll just want to, you know, get the momentum going, like I said. So I'm going to go over 2-1 narrow victory for Sheffield United in that one. Moving on to the next one, Burnley versus Cardiff. Now, obviously, Burnley won the league. They can't get the points record. Obviously, the points record is 106 by Reading, but they can still get over 100 points. They're currently on 98 points. Obviously, if they won, they'd go out to 101 points. They're taking on Cardiff. Now, Cardiff, obviously, they've, you know, cemented their place in the Championship next season. I thought they were very poor defensively against Huddersfield in that second half. You know, and if they play like that away at Burnley, they'll get proper punished even more than they did against Huddersfield, in my opinion. And, you know, the fact is at Turf Moor as well, I think they want to end it on a high. Obviously, their last home game was a defeat to QPR, which no one expected except Harry, my mate. Shout out to Harry, obviously, as you know, been on the channel and that. But yeah, I'm going to go with a 3-0 win for Burnley. I think it's going to be an emphatic one and they're going to end it on a high. Like I say, if Cardiff defend like how they did against Huddersfield, but hey, against a team like Burnley, yeah, it could be peak. But yeah, moving on to the next game. This game's a massive game. These two could literally face each other again when the playoffs are on. And that is Middlesbrough versus Coventry. Now, ideally, Coventry need to not lose. A draw would be decent for them. Middlesbrough obviously cemented their fourth place. Obviously, they could have got third, but obviously they lost that game to Luton and then lost to Rotherham, which obviously confirmed third place for Luton. Taking on Coventry. Coventry, you know, last couple of seasons have been in and around the playoffs. They haven't quite got them. Could this be the season they get them? I believe it will be with this result. I'm going with a 1-1 draw, which I think if you're a Coventry fan, you would definitely take that. So yeah, moving on to the next game. Another massive game in this final game week for that playoff battle. Millwall versus Blackburn Rovers. Now, Blackburn did get a decent draw against Luton. They could have won the game, if I'm being honest. You know, that, what's his name, Schmodik's chance at the end of the game, very unlucky. Obviously, the volley off the bar. They had chances to win that game. They're taking on Millwall. A draw wasn't too bad for Blackburn. Ideally, they'd have wanted to win that Luton game because then they'd have had more of a chance to, you know, get into the playoffs. They still got a chance, but it's slimmer than what it could have been. Taking on Millwall. We know the Den's not the easiest of places to go. Millwall, another team similar to Coventry, they're usually in and around the playoff mix, especially in recent years, but they don't quite manage to get it. Will this be the year with Millwall? My dad obviously said when we played him, he don't think it still will not be the year for them. Me personally, I think it will be. I think they'll win this game 2-1. So that is my prediction for that one. Moving on to the next game, Watford versus Stoke. Now, obviously, Watford, I did say at the start of the season, if they're to get anything, they'll just sneak into the playoffs. And that's how it was looking maybe a couple of weeks ago if they were to get in there. Obviously, they're not now. They're going to be in the Championship again. As a Luton fan, I'm loving it, but I hope we flipping go up because you know they're going to be watching us. And if we don't, you're never going to hear the end of it like they done something good this season. Do you know what I mean? So, come on, Luton. We need to do this. But yeah, taking on Stoke. Stoke, you know, they had a bit of a spell, didn't they? You know, towards the later stages of the season where they were doing well. You know, beating Blackburn, beating Sunderland away emphatically. And then they dropped off towards the end of the season. Obviously, they haven't got anything to play for. But because both teams, they're not, you know, the greatest right now, I'm going to go with a draw. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw in this one. Moving on to the next game, Huddersfield versus Reading. Now, this game a couple of weeks ago could have been bigger than it's now going to be. Because obviously, you know, it was two teams in the bottom. But obviously, Huddersfield winning on Thursday night against Sheffield United, obviously, cemented their place in the Championship next season. Fair play to them. I thought they would go down. I knew they'd definitely be in the battle this season, especially with obviously Carlos going. You know, the players they lost out on, O'Brien, Toffolo. You know, obviously you see they're not doing great at Nottingham Forest because they're not really playing. But at the same time, they were a massive part of where Huddersfield were last season. You know, you can't say they weren't. See, Carlos was massive for them, like I said, as well. And, you know, I just knew the morale would be lost. But Neil Warnock's come in. He's done brilliant. Obviously, we know he's very experienced as a manager, especially when it comes to relegation battles. And, yeah, obviously, they're staying up. Like I said, they obviously beat Sheffield United. I thought they'd maybe get a point. I knew they'd definitely get something out of that game, given Sheffield United have nothing to play for. And Huddersfield at home against the teams in the higher, you know, end of the table tend to do better as well. They're actually unbeaten in their last 5 at home. Taking on Reading, like I say, Reading are now down. Obviously, they did get a points deduction, which obviously didn't help. But I can't lie, it's about time they go down in it. They're always flirting in and around relegation. It's about time they went down. And, you know, Huddersfield, obviously, they'll be in a party mood. But they are at home. Reading, the worst side away from home in the league. I'm going with a 2-0 victory for Huddersfield in this one. Moving on to the next one, my team Luton Town versus Hull City. Now, obviously, when we played Hull City earlier on in the season, was a Friday night game on TV. 2-0. Henry Lansbury scored a wicked goal in that game. My thoughts going into this one, obviously, we've guaranteed third, so it's not like we need to go all out for anything. Obviously, Rob Edwards has said, you know, in these final games in the league, you know, he wants to keep the momentum going, you know, for the playoffs. But yeah, obviously I expect a little bit of rotation, not too much. I still expect the likes of Morris and, you know, them sort of players to play. But I think at the same time, it's good to try and, you know, especially if other players are back like Osho and Burke, try and get them into the swing of things. Obviously, because if they are back, which I'm hearing positive news, you know, we need them in the playoffs. You know, them sort of players. Be good to see if Lansbury is back, to see if he gets, you know, quite a few minutes. That'd be good. Obviously, we know what he did last time out against Hull. We just need players to get minutes under their belts, especially, you know, because everyone's going to play a part in these playoffs. Even if you don't play, you know, many games starting, they'll definitely, you know, need them, or we will need them, sorry, for the playoffs. So it's one of them where, you know, like I say, we can sort of chill out a little bit, but, you know, I still expect us to be, you know, doing it where we go on to win the game, really. Hull, you know, they're no mugs, though. That's what I will say. You know, I expect them to be in a higher position next season. Obviously, since Liam's come in, they've been a lot better defensively, so fair play to them. But, yeah, I reckon this one's going to be a narrow victory for Luton. I reckon it's going to be the exact same score as it was last season when I went to that game. I'm not sure if I'll be going to this one yet. I'll know by Sunday. Which is tomorrow. But I'm going to go over 1-0 Luton. We love a 1-0 as well. I think the momentum will keep it there. And I think Hull will make it difficult. Like I say, they are, you know, they are quite good defensively under Liam. But I think we'll be able to break them down. And yeah, I'll go over 1-0 Luton. Narrow victory. We love a 1-0. But yeah, moving on to the next game. Norwich City versus Blackpool. Now, Blackpool obviously got relegated Obviously, after losing to Millwall in that Friday night game. What a game that was, by the way, 3-2. You know, it's just a matter of time, wasn't it, really, of Blackpool? You know, the amount of Blackpool fan channels I see, shout out to Lee Charles TV, and, you know, pretty much every week he was saying, right, we're down. It was just a matter of time, do you know what I mean? It was a matter of time. I'm a bit gutted. Obviously, if Luton don't go up, because it is a, you know, good place to go to, it's one of them where you look at the fixture list, you're like, okay, when do we have Blackpool? You know, have a day in Blackpool or whatever, weekend, depending on when you're playing them. So I'm gutted in that sense. But, you know, we'll see what they do next season in League One. I think they might do all right, to be fair. Taking on Norwich, underwhelming season for Norwich. Obviously, a lot of people, including myself, obviously said they'll win the league because that's what they usually do. Not even got playoffs. Not even got playoffs. Very underwhelming season, like I said. This is similar to the Watford-Stoke game for me. Both teams are not great. I'm going with a 1-1 again, to be honest with you. So, yeah. Moving on to the next game. Massive game when it comes to the playoffs. And that is Preston North End versus Sunderland. Obviously, Preston a couple of weeks ago were in the battle for the playoffs. Now they're not. They're taking on Sunderland, who still have a very good chance of getting in there. Even if they don't, what a first season they've had, you know, back in the Championship. Fighting at the top end of the Championship. Even if they don't get playoffs, I think if you're a Sunderland fan and Sunderland players, you can keep your head up held high. And look forward to next season, because I think they'll just capitalise on it, to be honest. So yeah, that is that. How do I see this one going? Sunderland are going to bring a brilliant support. I've always said it. Teams from the northeast, always bring good support. You know, like your Middlesbroughs, your Sunderlands, etc. And they will bring a brilliant support. Obviously, it's a must-win, really. Obviously, they need to rely on other results as well. But they need to do their job if they're to have any hope of getting in the playoffs. And that's, of course, win this game. Now, Preston obviously started off the season, or most of the season, very bad at home. They are actually unbeaten in their last 5 at home. But I think this is where it ends on the final day, especially if Sunderland needing to win. They'll bring a brilliant support as well. And I am going to go with a 2-1 away victory for Sunderland in this one. Moving on to the next game, QPR versus Bristol City. QPR obviously confirmed that they'll be staying up. Did predict their result right. Did say they beat Stoke away 1-0, and they did. And obviously before that, they beat Burnley. So, no, fair play. You know, considering when Ainsworth come in, there was question marks. Obviously, going forward, I still don't think he's the guy, but they'll probably keep him now because of these results. They're taking on Bristol City. Bristol City, you know, not a bad side. Not a bad side. You know, according to Naismith, you know, they're a playoff team. That's what he was saying at the start of the season. Don't know what he was on about. But there we go. Considering the team he left was actually in the playoffs as well, in us, for Bristol City. And he said they're a playoff team when they weren't even in the playoffs last season either. Tell me how that makes sense. We just know you went there for more money, mate. Yeah, that's all it is. You don't try and say something that's not true. But anyway, it's his loss because we're in there again. Especially if we go up, that'll be even funnier, won't it? Seeing, you know, what he's got to say on that. He won't comment. It'll be like Mourinho. I prefer not to speak. If I speak, I'm in big trouble. You know what I mean? It'll be one of them. But yeah, this one, like I say, you know, both teams, nothing to play for now. I reckon it's going to be a high-scoring game, though. I don't know why. I've just got a feeling. I'm going to go with a 2-2. I'm going to go with Desmond in this one. So that is that. And then moving on to the last 2 games. Swansea City versus West Brom. Again, another massive game when it comes to the playoffs. Obviously, for West Brom. Obviously, Swansea getting that draw. Obviously, shut out their chances against Hull, which I did predict right. I did actually say a draw in that game. And it was. Taking on West Brom, like I say, West Brom very similar to Sunderland. They need to rely on other results, but they need to do their job and win, and then hope the others don't, basically. And again, I'm going to go with another victory for the away side that needs to win. I'm going to go with a 2-1 victory for West Brom. And then moving on to the last game. Again, nothing game now. Wigan, obviously down. I did say they would get relegated. I did say they'd finish bottom. Obviously, they you know, can still, not get rock bottom. Obviously, if Blackpool didn't win or didn't get a draw, and obviously Wigan got a result, they're taking on Rotherham. Fair play, Rotherham. They're staying up. You know, I had that feeling a couple of weeks ago. I was saying I reckon they'll stay up. This will be the season they do it. Fair play, because they're usually like Norwich in the Premier League, where they come up, go straight back down. But obviously that's how Rotherham usually are in the Championship. So fair play to them for staying up. Taking on Wigan, like I say, Wigan obviously already down. If Rotherham draw, obviously, and get to the 50-point mark, which they'll be happy with, because usually they're getting relegated. And I can see it being a draw. I can see this one being a draw. I'm going to sit on the fence, and I'm going to go over 1-1 in this one. So yeah, people, they are my Championship predictions for the final game week. And then, like I said, obviously I will be doing playoff ones. Obviously, my team, Luton, I'll be getting more into them on the Hatter Show as well. So make sure you tune into them. But yeah, big up to everyone that's found me through Championship predictions and even the Championship table predictions at the start. I'm sure at the end of the season, especially once the playoffs is done, I'll do a reaction to my predictions for the whole table, and we'll have a look at how it was. So yeah, but yeah, don't forget to smash a like on the video if you haven't already. Do subscribe to the channel if you are new. Turn on notification bells so you never miss an upload or a scheduled stream. If you do want to follow me across any of my socials, link to them are in the description. Subscribe to my other channel as well, T-Boys TV Extra. And until next time, I'll see you lot in a bit. Take care and peace.